Welcome to the Waiver Wire. Waiver Wire.
Waiver Wire.
Waiver Wire.
Waiver Wire.
What up? Welcome to the Waiver Wire, where fantasy players become fantasy legends. We're back, baby. We got another week in the books. Some baseball signings happened. First and foremost, I don't give a fuck about you, Justin Verlander. Get the fuck on, then. No, I mean it's he's been a big part of our team, and what won our championship back in 2017. I truly believe was picking up an ace like him, and I'm a fan of Verlander, and I love the guy, and he's done a lot of good for us. Not so much in the World Series, but and if he wants to go to the Mets and choke on the Mets, then that's fine with me. But it was too much money. I mean, for a 40-year-old to be getting $43 million a year, $86 million over 2 years. I mean, it's an astronomical amount of money. It's too much. I'm glad that we didn't do it. So, good riddance. He can scurry on about his merry little way and get the fuck out of here. Because the Astros, I'll tell you what we did. Check it out, little Astros always. We signed Jose Abreu from the former Chicago White Sox first baseman. It's sad. I'm assuming that means that Yuli Gurriel will not be coming back, which is a real bummer. I don't like that at all. But maybe, I mean, in my dreams, Yuli comes back for like a DH position / to be there defensively if we need him. And that's the thing, is that Yuli over the years has really, really gotten better at defense, so it was always really surprising for him to kind of be thought of as a liability at the beginning of his career as a first baseman, but now it's like, I'll always love Yuli Gurriel way more than I love Justin Verlander. I don't want him to go. It'll be sad if he does go somewhere else, but in my dreams he comes back and he's just on this stacked ass team. We also, I heard, Dusty said that he wasn't not interested in Wilson Contreras, so that's an interesting one too, talking about how we might be going after that for catcher, although I love Martin Maldonado, and I know our guys do too. I didn't put it on here, but Jacob DeGrom, he went to the Rangers on a pretty big deal. The Rangers, I don't know. I mean, they're trying. They're definitely going after big free agents. They're spending money. I don't know. I mean, I know they're not a good team, but I guess they're turning the corner. Maybe they'll turn this corner here, and Jacob DeGrom will be a big pickup for him. So it's not a bad pickup. And the other big one from this week was Trey Turner signing an 11-year. I didn't know we gave out 11-year deals anymore, but I guess the Phillies gave Bryce Harper 13 years or whatever it is. But yeah, it's unbelievable. The Phillies. They were already, they won the National League last year. They went on that little run there at the end of the year. They looked like a really complete team. They were kind of rotating rookies in and out of the shortstop position. Didn't really have anybody, and now you get one of the best leadoff hitters. I mean, their lineup is nasty now. Their lineup is really good. So Phillies, it's a big come up for them. And we'll see where where does Carlos Correa go? Does he go to the Dodgers? Does he go to the Yankees? I don't know. Don't care. Carlos Correa is not my problem anymore. Good riddance. He can skedaddle somewhere else. The Astros, man, I feel so good about Fromber being our ace, about Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy, and maybe Lance McCullers plays better, and there's just so many good things. So Justin Verlander did not faze me at all. I was fully prepared for this, and fuck out of here. First down. Oh, welcome to the Tom Brady Hour, baby. Oh, don't ever count my man out. I mean, I don't know if there's another player, not even football, baseball, basketball. I don't think you can find someone who, when the momentum shifts the way that it did in that game last night, when it's crunch time, when it's minute left, got to have this two minute drill where you got to drive down the field and score. There's nobody better. There's nobody better than my guy, Tom Brady. They played really poorly for the first the first 3 3/4 of this game. They really did not play well. Their offense just could not seem to get it going. They're forcing it with the run. They're trying so hard to be a running team, but you just got to let Tom just drop back and just let this thing loose. We got to let him go. Let him throw the ball. And some of the drops that happen for, some of the things that where guys aren't getting open for Tom and dropping for Tom, it's wearing on him. I see him getting real upset on the sidelines, which is, that's the kind of competitor he is. I definitely thought they were about to lose this game, and I thought, oh, well, they're still going to be a game ahead of everybody else in the division. They'll still be a game ahead of the Falcons because the Falcons and the Saints have not had their bye week yet. But, man, just incredible. My guy, never saying die, never giving up, knowing where some of those throws, that sideline throw to Chris Godwin there at the very end of the game was just perfect. It was perfect. He hit it on the money. He knows when the moment is big. It's time for me to shine bright. And my guy's the brightest shining star. I also don't know what the future holds for Tom Brady. Was the coming out of retirement a reason that he got divorced from his wife of 13 years? I think maybe a little bit. We don't know necessarily what was going on in their relationship, but I think there was part of it that was there, that he told her he was gonna quit, and then he changed his mind, and she probably wasn't happy about that, and he said, I don't give a fuck. I don't know if they win a Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to count them out. Who am I going for in the NFC? Tampa Bay. I have not shied away from it. I'm not letting it go. My guy's still going to go on a run and prove everybody wrong. But I don't know if they win. It's going to be a tough sled. They're going to have to play some really good teams like Philadelphia and San Francisco and Dallas and, some of the Minnesota, some of these teams in the NFC that are just really, really good. So I would say it's a long shot that they win a Super Bowl this year. I'm not counting them out. I know my guy can do what he did last night against anybody. But I think that I'm more thinking that maybe his mindset was, look, I have a contract with Tampa Bay, so I have to go back and I have to play with them one more year. I don't know if they're my team anymore. I kind of like the move that I made where I went from New England, who didn't have the right pieces anymore, and I went to a place that had the right pieces. So maybe if I can go find a team that's right there, and if you're the San Francisco 49ers, just think about it, okay? Look, this guy wants to play on the 49ers. He is from there. You have a Super Bowl winning defense. You have Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. You have a chance to sign Tom Brady in free agency and have him come in and let Trey Lance learn from him, heal up. Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm assuming, is going to go somewhere else. And you could win a Super Bowl. I mean, if he goes to San Francisco, I think that they are a shoo-in to win a Super Bowl. Even if it is just to play game manager and run the ball and play good defense, I think he can do that better than anybody. But yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Tom. I think that this was a huge win, takes them now to 6-6. They're going to win that division. They're going to get a home playoff game. They have a really tough schedule coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I think they play Cincinnati and San Francisco coming up. But the future for Tom is very interesting. He clearly made a choice, and it might have cost him his marriage. It might have cost him his future with his kids, but he made a choice to come back and play. And it's not to do this. It's not to play poorly, possibly get eliminated in the playoffs again. You guys know where my guy wants to retire. He wants to be holding the trophy in his hand, saying, "This is what I fucking do. You don't get it. I'm the champ. You're not." And I don't know I don't know if Tampa Bay is the answer for that this year, and I know that he could move on after this, and he's not. I mean, did you see a decline last night? Did you see him fuck up last night? I saw him play very, very well, especially with no Tristan Wirfs. We know the story about the interior of his offensive line. I mean, Tristan Wirfs is his best offensive line, bar none, and to not have him, to not have, it's wild. It's wild to see what he can do. Welcome to the Tom Brady Hour.
Second down.
Another game of the fucking year, huh? We constantly say it. It's like Minnesota Buffalo. Oh my God, that was the game of the year. And then I don't know. I actually thought this Cincinnati Kansas City game was a really, really, really incredible game of the year nominee / playoff predictor. We can go ahead and look into the future and say, whoa, I can't wait for that whenever we see that again in the playoffs. But yeah, just the Bengals are for real, man. The Bengals are for real. They have gone on a run here. They have gotten their offensive line together. Their defense is playing a lot better. And now with Jamar Chase making fucking one-hand catches like that, whoo, boy. I mean, I had a good weekend. My guy just came back and won last night. I won in all 3 of my leagues. The football gods bless me. And then they just said, oh yeah, and your new guy, Joey B, he's going to beat the number one at the time, Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely bonkers. I loved this game. I loved the moxie out of Swaggy Joey B. He just, just like Tom, he kind of never says die, and he just keeps fighting. They just keep fighting. I also think there's a lot of similarities between his pocket presence. He's very calm in the pocket. He moves just like Tom. It's not like Josh Allen and Mahomes, who are extending the play so much. And Joey B is just way more athletic, where he can kind of extend the play and run if he needs to. Travis Kelce fumbling, that's not, you normally aren't going to see that. I know he's mad at himself about that. And Kansas City, they're good. They're the toughest in the league. I still believe they're the toughest in the league. I still have them as, if I had to do a power rankings, I would still have them number 1. They moved to the number 2 seed in the AFC because of Buffalo beating them for the tiebreaker. So you've got Buffalo at number 1 now. Look at that. They've fought their way all the way back to number 1. But I still think Kansas City is a little bit better than Buffalo. I wouldn't put any money. I wouldn't put any hard-earned money on that game, but I would say that I would take Kansas City in that. But if it's Kansas City and Cincinnati, it seems like they have their number, doesn't they? It seems like they're just mentally, they're 3-0 against them now. The Bengals, man, we got to stop calling them the Cincinnati Bengals. Listen, the Buffalo Bills 10 years ago were a joke. The Kansas City Chiefs 10 years ago were a joke, and now the new quarterbacks have come in, and the paradigm shift has shifted, and here we are with the Cincinnati Bengals being faux real. But yeah, big win for my boys Tommy B and Swaggy B. Swaggy B on a Tommy B with a blop, blop, blop and a flop, flop, flop.
Third down.
Well, I don't know why I'm making my picks other than just for my own, just to talk out the week for you, because mybookie.com called and said, listen, we're going to take the promo code fuck the algorithm away if you can't get a little bit better at this. Five out of the 15 is not good. There was a lot of weird close games, especially with the spreads. The spreads were very interesting this week, so I fucked up on a lot of them. But let's get into it. Thursday night started off with a beatdown. New England wants to be competitive, but Buffalo is just a much better team than them. I should have known that Buffalo was going to come out and make a statement in this game. I really haven't liked what I've seen out of New England the last couple of weeks. And I have New England's defense in fantasy football, and I kind of think it might be time to move on. I'm going to look around and see what else is out there. But, Buffalo came in, stomped them out, 24-10. Stephon Diggs is him. They were a 5-point favorite on the road, and I went with New England because I thought 5 was a little high. I thought they could keep it to a field goal, and I was wrong. 24-10. Buffalo complete domination. Buffalo. I don't know. Josh Allen's got to prove it, right? Because he hasn't even gotten to the World Championship. He hasn't even gotten to a Super Bowl, and he's struggled in some big moments. I saw Deshaun Watson come back and beat him, and have his eyes were this big as he was sitting on this. Hey. Shut up! Shut the fuck up! We have 7 dogs now. Bones! Bones! Stop! Goodness gracious. But yeah, Thursday night game was a good game. For if you're a Buffalo fan. Cleveland at Houston. We had the return of Deshaun. Man. It's funny because Cleveland's defense has not been very good. They've been one of the worst in the league. They have really struggled, and it's why, even though Jacoby Brissett can put up 30 points, they'll still end up losing some of these close games. But boy, do the Houston Texans suck. Oh, my goodness. The Houston Texans have no quarterback, and it is painfully obvious. And Deshaun struggled. He didn't look amazing. He looked okay. And it was kind of a lackluster game for him. But for the defense, boy, howdy, did they scored a punt return, a scoop and score. I think they had a pick six. I mean, it was everything that could go right. Everything that they could. They scored 3 touchdowns, and somebody named Josh, me, picked up them in every single one that he could find them in fantasy football, and they scored 31 on Buckaroos, motherfucker. It was amazing. It was when I was a fantasy legend this week. I started Cleveland against Houston because Houston is terrible. Whoever's playing Houston, you start them. Dallas is playing Houston this week. Holy shit. But yeah, Houston's terrible, and Cleveland looked okay. Deshaun's going to shake this rust off, and this is going to get better as time goes on. He hasn't played in 700 games or whatever, 700 days. So, I expect this to get much better. But I went with Cleveland because they were a 7-point favorite on the road, but Houston is terrible, and they proved it to me. 27-14. It was all defense for Cleveland. It was a big win for Cleveland's defense, and go against Houston every week. Bryce Young, baby. Going for Bryce Young. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. This was an interesting game. Pittsburgh was a 1.5-point favorite on the road. I thought that was a little disrespectful to Atlanta just because they have been scrappy and kind of played well all year. But I think Vegas and maybe the sports world is starting to realize what I thought early on about Atlanta, that they're not a very good team. And I mean, we shouldn't have expected a lot out of Marcus Mariota in this group. And Pittsburgh's not a very good team. So this was kind of a, lesser of two evils here. But Pittsburgh did a good job. They hung in there. They played good defense when they needed to. Najee Harris fucking stiff-armed a man to hell. And they got this win, 19-16. I went with Atlanta. I thought maybe this was a bit rude of the Vegas to be saying this, but they were right. Not a lot to write home about either of those teams, though, so I won't. Green Bay at Chicago. My goodness. I picked Chicago because I keep saying, like, oh, man, Chicago looks better. Chicago's going this way. Chicago's going this way. But I should have known better. I forgot that the part owner of the Chicago Bears is Aaron Rodgers, and he has a stranglehold on them and always will. By them winning this game, they overtook Chicago as the most winning franchise in history. So that's pretty cool. What a crazy game to do that on, huh? And Christian Watson is faux real, my guys. Faux real. Aaron Rodgers looked better. They ran the ball very well. A.J. Dillon, thank you for finally showing up. I didn't start you, of course, but thank you for finally showing me some life. Green Bay was a 3-point favorite on the road, and I went with Chicago because, again, I thought, home is maybe a little disrespectful, but I think Chicago can pull this out. And I was wrong. 28-19. Green Bay stomped the dicks in the holes. Jacksonville at Detroit. Man, Detroit is so weird, aren't they? I mean, they early on, this was the offense that we saw. They took a break in the middle of the season, lost a whole bunch of games, and now they're back. Now this offense is back, rocking and rolling. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a killer, and Jacksonville is going Jacksonville, right? I mean, I'm just not impressed by them. I don't believe in them, and they have continually disappointed. I think Trevor Lawrence is good. I'm not gonna sit here and say he's a franchise quarterback yet. I can't, because he's not running a franchise right now. He is currently a Baker Mayfield. He is currently a loser. So it's hard for me to say any of that. I would argue that Trevor Lawrence has maybe got another year of this, and then you got to start going, okay, so we made a mistake, and he's not the guy. I'm not going to blame him. It's not his fault that they're losing these games, but he is losing these games. So both things are true. And as far as Detroit, if they can score like that they're a good team. If they can score points, they're a good team. They're actually not mathematically out of it because they are 5-7. So, they're behind the Washington Commanders now, who are 7-5-1, lame. And they are, Seattle 7-5. So there's an opportunity, if there are some losses by, those three ahead of them, that if they win out, they could potentially get in as a 7 seed, which was what I said would happen. And I'm a fucking genius, so I hope that happens. But Detroit stomped them out 14-40. They were a 1-point favorite at home. I picked Detroit. I was right. I always do this. The early ones, I'm good. The first couple picks, I'm solid. I think maybe in the later ones, I get a little crazy. But Detroit win. Jets at Minnesota. Man, this was a crazy game. Came down to the very last play. It's so crazy that they got to the 1. They got all the way down to the 1, and they couldn't get it in. And then had another chance to kind of drive down the field. And, I mean, if Braxton Berrios holds on to that ball, they win this game. Minnesota, man, they just find ways to win. I should have known better than to go with the Jets here. I picked the Jets. The Minnesota was a 3-point favorite at home, and Minnesota won this game 22-27. Mike White is definitely better than Zach Wilson, and I would roll with him for the rest of the year just to give it, to be fair to your team, which is a good team. Their defense is good. They have good pieces. If Breece Hall comes back healthy, I think they're going to be nice and strong going forward. But Zach Wilson's not the guy, and I think Mike White is closer to being the guy, but he's not quite the guy. So you might have to draft again. You might have to, in this draft, you might have to bite the bullet and take a late first round or second round quarterback and see if you can plug somebody else in there. Jets took a L here, which was not good for them. We'll get into where they're at. Let's see. They're 7-5, so they are the 7 seed still. They're still ahead of New England and the Chargers, who are both 6-6. I would say I smell disaster for the Jets, and that's just me being a realist. Just that, the way the Jets are and how they like to lose some of these late games, it's possible that they screw some of this up. So we'll see. But it was a very, very close game. Speaking of a close game, so close, in fact, that they just called it a tie, like fucking soccer. The Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. The Washington Commanders were a 2.5-point favorite. They've been on this great run of win. Taylor Heineke has changed their franchise from Carson Wentz, and it just seems like, they're definitely not going back to Carson Wentz, but it seemed like this was a game they could win. Now, I went with the Giants simply because I thought maybe this is where the magic runs out a little bit, and maybe Washington takes an L here. Now, Washington being a 2.5-point favorite, I don't know for certain, but I believe that by me picking the Giants to cover the 2.5 points, the fact that they tied means they did do that. The Washington Commanders did not win by 2.5. So I believe I'm right in this scenario. I don't know. I'm not a bettor, but I believe that's what that means. And so, I'm not crazy about either one of these teams. One or both of them might make the playoffs, but that doesn't mean I believe either one of them are going to win. There are way better teams in the NFC. The top 5 in the NFC will destroy whoever is 6 and 7. And I give Seattle a better chance. I think Seattle is a more competitive team. Not if Kenneth Walker III is not playing, but I give them a better chance against that top 5, but other than that, no. I don't believe that the Giants or the Commanders or the Lions or even the Seahawks, for that matter, are going to be able to crack it. But lame for it to be a tie. I hate the tie. Let's go into some extra time. Let's go into double overtime. Let's go let's do what we would do if it was a playoff game where you can't fucking tie. That's ridiculous. So, not a fan of the tie. Not a fan. Tennessee at Philadelphia. Philadelphia was a 5.5-point favorite. I don't know why. I just kind of thought that was a big number. I thought that Tennessee could keep it close. I thought Philly would probably end up winning the game, but maybe just by a field goal. And Philadelphia came out and said, you know what? We're the best team in the league. I keep saying Kansas City, but it probably is the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they are complete. They are a complete team. They play good defense. They play. They can run the ball. They can throw it to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they're going to get Dallas Goedert probably back for the playoffs. And Philly is the most complete team probably in the league. I mean, look at their record, 11-1. That is nuts. 35-10. The Philadelphia Eagles stomped out the Tennessee Titans. And it's weird because the Tennessee Titans, they're going to be a playoff team. They're going to win that division. They were the number 1 seed last year. They're always a good team, but something about these big moments. It's Tannehill. I know it is. You're only going to go as far as Tannehill can take you. He's not going to take you very far. So, very interesting game, just to kind of see where Tennessee was and to see that Philadelphia, even against a good opponent, they are better. And, they came out kind of lackluster at the beginning. They started, the Eagles started off not super strong, and then all of a sudden just said, all right, fuck it, let's turn it on, and they killed them. But yeah, that was a good game if you're an Eagles fan. The Denver Broncos went to the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar, knee sprain. Shocking that these mobile quarterbacks get hurt this way. It's something to be said about just go down. Tom Brady and now Aaron Rodgers in his older age, and even Joe Burrow to a certain extent, they've realized, you got to realize when the play is over and you just got to go down. You just got to go down. You just can't fight for those extra yards. And I didn't see the play that he actually got hurt on, but I would assume that he's maybe going to miss some time, probably next game. Although the Huntley guy that came in played really, really well. I like that Huntley kid. I thought he did a good job. I mean, the game-winning drive that they had on this, on a Denver Broncos team that is so sorry, so sorry. I mean, just wow, just a terrible team. For them to let this Huntley kid come back and win this game was like, really? Okay. But yeah, 9-10. Baltimore was an 8-point favorite at home. I've told you there are 2 teams out of the AFC West that I will not pick anymore, and they are the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. They don't know how to win. The Denver Broncos don't. The Las Vegas Raiders figured it out, but we'll get to that. 8 point was a big number. I remember commenting on that last week too, that 8 points was a big number, and it was too big for my spread. So I ended up getting this wrong, but hot take. I kind of think the Broncos might figure it out over this offseason. If they get Javonte Williams back, they draft a little bit better. There's a possibility that the Broncos could be a good team in the next couple of years. I don't want to write. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett will be the coach anymore, and I don't want to write off Russell Wilson yet and say it's time for him to go. I think he's still got good years left in him, and I think that it's just a matter of what do you put around him and what plays do you call for him? Because he really is talented when he's extending the play and he's doing his magic feet and he's finding open guys. Tyler Lockett for a touchdown on a bomb, and he's got an arm. So I'm not ready to write Russell Wilson off. Next year, I think I'm going to be more into the Broncos. The Seattle Seahawks went to the Los Angeles Rams with Wolford and Allen Robinson out for the year. I mean, they're just completely banged up, the Los Angeles Rams. That's why I picked the Seattle Seahawks to win by 8. They were an 8-point favorite on the road. It was a little too much, 27-23. Seattle does really well of answering back. And Geno Smith, man, I don't know. I mean, I keep saying you're not going forward with Geno Smith, right? Like, Geno Smith's not going to be your quarterback of the future, but I mean, he's kind of earning that job. It kind of is his job, So 8 points was too big. They only won by 4. And the Rams, man, the Rams are done. Dead in the water, done. And it's sad, but it is what it is. You went for broke. You won a championship. That's great. But now you got to live with your sins. Now you have no picks. You have nothing to revamp your team in the first round here. And Matt Stafford seems like the time might be up. I mean, he's got a neck contusion or something like that, some crazy spina bifida or something. And I don't know. I see a lot of bad coming forward for the Rams, and especially the rest of this year. But we'll get to why I made the pick I made. Miami at San Francisco. San Francisco was a 3.5-point favorite at home. I actually thought Miami was going to outright win this game, but San Francisco's defense is wow. I thought the Dallas Cowboys defense was the best. I think I was wrong. I think it might be this defense. Nick Bosa is pushing his way in for Defensive Player of the Year right now, and all of this to be said. The biggest thing that came out of this game, obviously, is that Jimmy G, broken foot, out for the year. Such a big loss for them. I mean, they've already lost Trey Lance. Now they lose Jimmy G. And they bring in Mr. Irrelevant. His name is Brock Purdy. He was the last pick of the last round. That's what they call Mr. Irrelevant. Terrible nickname to have. And he came in and he played pretty well. He found the guys when they were open. He made good throws. He didn't turn the ball over. And this was also a weird game because I feel like it was the worst game for Tua. He played really uncharacteristically, turning the ball over, not accurate, seemed a little frazzled. I know Nick Bosa was living back there in the backfield, but just seemed like kind of the worst of Miami and maybe the best of San Francisco. I don't know if those two things stay that way. I would imagine it comes back more to the middle, but Miami got walloped 17-33. And yeah, I picked Miami. I thought Miami was going to win, and I was wrong. San Francisco won this game handedly. And, we'll see what they do going forward. Baker Mayfield was put on the waivers, to waiver wire, yesterday, I believe, or maybe today, but yesterday. Was told that he would be the third string behind Sam Darnold and PJ Walker, and he did not like that, so he asked to be released, and they said, "Get the fuck out of here." I personally thought Brock Purdy played better than Baker Mayfield does. I don't think Baker Mayfield is an NFL quarterback. I think he's probably done. We'll see. But your chances of winning a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, they're much lower than they were with Jimmy G. And that's not me being a hater. It's just realistic. I don't know. I don't know what happens going forward, and I don't know if Brock Purdy can hold on to this job, but we'll see in the next coming days who gets Baker Mayfield, and we'll see, if maybe they go for somebody else. So big loss for San Francisco, but a big win at the same time, and Josh with the L on picking. Kansas City at Cincinnati, we talked about 24-27. I got that right. I did pick Cincinnati in that. Ha ha ha. I'm going with my man Swaggy Joey every motherfucking time. And then we go to the Chargers at the Raiders. The Chargers are a 2-point favorite on the road. Again, I told you I will not pick the Las Vegas Raiders anymore, so I had to pick the Chargers. And man, the Raiders are kind of trying to bring me back. I won't let it happen. They are not a good team, and I will not let them convince me otherwise. But the other team that's not very good is the Los Angeles Chargers. They're just not very good. And they Justin Herbert, man, I don't know what it is. He just it's almost like you got another Phillip Rivers. He's good. He's very good. He's a Pro Bowl-esque type quarterback, but is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? That I don't know, and I don't think we're going to get a chance to see it this year. But yeah, 2-point favorite on the road. I went with the Chargers. I will not pick the Raiders, and I got it wrong. The Raiders ended up winning this game, and yeah, it was also a good back and forth game. Keenan Allen was very good. It was a nice game. The scoreboard does not explain what actually happened in this game, but Indianapolis at Dallas was the Sunday night football game. Dallas was an 11-point favorite. Let's see. Let me do the math here. 19 minus 54, 54 minus 19. Yeah, I think it's 11. I got it right for sure. But man, that defense and Matt Ryan came together, didn't they? And I mean, the Dallas defense and Matt Ryan, they really looked at each other and said, "You want to give us the game, Matty Ice?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And he just 3 interceptions. They just dominated, and beat down. I feel for Jeff Saturday. This isn't anybody's ideal way to walk into the league, and I think he's done a really good job, but the team just doesn't have enough. So 19-14. I read that wrong. 19-54. The Dallas Cowboys roll. And then we talked about last night. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's 3.5-point favorite. So I got it wrong because it was 16-17. Let's go Tom Brady hour. Woo! Tom Brady hour.
4th down.
The waiver wire generally by this point gets a little dicey. It's a little, you don't really want a lot of this stuff. But we've had some injuries and we've had some interesting things go on. So I wanted to bring up some of the names that were floating around in some of my leagues that I think are interesting. I don't know his first name. I think it's maybe Tony Sherfield or Tim Sherfield, T. Sherfield, don't know his first name. But on the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Waddle did go out of the game, which broke my heart. I don't know if he will carry an injury going into next week, but it's another wide receiver on that Miami team that Tua seems to like, even in the red zone, and has breakaway speed too. So I liked Tony or Tim or Tommy Sherfield, and I would definitely have him at the top of my waiver wire list for this week. No way I'm going to be able to. It's like, I think it's Aquavius St. Brown, Amon-Ra, and Aquavius St. Brown. Crazy parents. But Aquavius St. Brown on the Bears, with Darnell Mooney going out for the year, and Chase Claypool still being Chase Claypool. I like this St. Brown kid. I think he's good. He's a little bit bigger than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wonder if his speed just isn't quite the same, but I like him a lot, and I think that he's had some consistent weeks. If you have something on your bench that's just kind of trash, I wouldn't not think about it. It's kind of a good idea. Samaje Perine, whatever, on the Bengals. As long as Joe Mixon keeps missing time, if that guy's out there, go get him. He put up another good stat week for me this week, but on my bench. But a big fan of Samaje Perine. Jahan Dotson is another one that I don't know if it's that he just came off of IR. So now that he's back, it's kind of like they've been integrating him back into the system, or he hasn't been playing. Not keeping up with the Washington Commanders maybe as closely as I should, but just saying, he's a weapon and he's fast. He scored a touchdown again. I like Jahan Dotson, especially going into next year. If depending on the quarterback, I might be high on Jahan Dotson. And then some tight ends, just because the tight end position is so difficult, and I know you're struggling like I am unless you have Travis Kelce. But yeah, I thought Noah Fant, Evan Ingram, these are teams that do rely a little bit on the tight end and checking down. So it would be very interesting to see what they do going forward. But I wouldn't be mad at having either one of them just as kind of a stash right now as you try to figure out the goddamn tight end position. Man, is it a son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Fifth down.
Going into week 14. As far as fantasy football goes, this should be your last week. You might need a win. You might need somebody else to lose. That's what I'm needing. I need to win, and I need somebody to lose, or one of two people to lose for me to get in the playoffs. But there is a chance. You're saying there's a chance, and I got a tiny one, but we'll see. Starts off with a divisional. No, it's not. Starts off with a Thursday night game, not in a divisional rivalry, but the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. Wow, two teams that I'm not crazy about right now, but you know my rule. I will not pick the Las Vegas Raiders anymore, and they're a 6-point favorite on the road. I also think that's a little high, especially for these two poor teams. I think it'll probably be a defensive game that is a very close game, and I'm going to go with the Rams and just say fuck off to the Raiders, and forever fuck off to the Raiders. I won't pick any of you next year unless Tom Brady comes to Las Vegas, and then I won't pick it. Las Vegas at the Rams, 6-point favorite on the road. The Las Vegas Raiders are, because of how poor the Rams have played, but I'm going to pick the Rams because the Raiders deep down suck as well. Houston at Dallas. Holy Toledo. Dallas is a 17-point favorite. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's too big of a number. He's not going to pick that. Oh, but you're wrong. Because I think 17 is exactly right. I think they win by at least 20. They just beat the Indianapolis Colts by fucking 100. There's no reason why they wouldn't be able to do that to the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans offensive line is not ready for this. If you have the Dallas Cowboys defense, you're starting them. Holy shit. You're definitely going to want to roll them out there. But yeah, I think Dallas gets this done. I also want us to lose because I want that number one pick. So, continue to lose, Houston, and I can't believe it, but I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowgirls. 17 points, not enough, to be honest. The New York Jets are playing the Buffalo Bills. This is a really good game. The Buffalo Bills are a 9.5-point favorite at home, and I just had to pump the brakes. I just had to go, oh, hold on. The Jets, who have kept all of their last couple games close, they play good defense. It's a divisional rivalry. I think Robert Saleh is a great coach. I think he's done a great job. I doubt very much they get blown out in this game. I think they lose, but I just don't think it's by 9.5. So I'm going to take the Jets in this. Go to mybookie.com and make some money. But yeah, I think the Jets definitely can cover the 9.5. I don't know if they necessarily win, but I think they can keep it closer to 6, somewhere in the 6-3 range. Jets at Buffalo. Cleveland at Cincinnati, the battle of the Ohios. Cincinnati, 6-point favorite at home. Finally putting some respect on my guy's name. Now, this is a different Cleveland Browns team now. I know that you're going to say, oh, yeah, but he struggled, and that's true. But I think we knock a lot of that rust off, and all of a sudden we see Deshaun back, and it's terrifying, and it's top 5 in the league, and I've said that again and again about him. So, I would argue that Cincinnati's going to win. I think they cover the 6 points. I think they win by a touchdown. And y'all know I love Swaggy Joey. And, I'm just wasn't sold on Cleveland, even though that they did a number on the Texans. These Cincinnati Bengals are infinitely better than the Houston Texans. So, I'm going to take Cincinnati and the 6 points. I don't give a shit. They're going to beat the shit out of Cleveland and send a message to the rest of the league. Watch out for the swag. Minnesota at Detroit. This is a sneaky good game. They have Detroit as a 1-point favorite. I'm shocked by that. I know Minnesota has a lot of close games, and they're keeping this spread super close too. But I mean, they are 10-2. They have won a bunch of games. They should easily beat Detroit, right? They are a 1-point Detroit 1-point favorite. I'm gonna pick Minnesota. I definitely think that Minnesota can win by more than a touchdown. I think that they have that capability, and Detroit necessarily does not. But this is a very interesting game. Very, very interesting game. Can't wait for it. Should be one of the best games of the morning as far as the noon games. Yeah, it definitely is. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 3.5 point favorite at home. I think that's enough. I'm going to take Tennessee in that. Jacksonville really hasn't proven anything to me. And I think Tennessee's kind of get right and punch them in the mouth. And I could see Tennessee winning this game by a lot. Philly at the New York Giants. Win-loss, you would say this is a big deal. But with the way that the Giants have played, I just don't see them really potentially doing anything to Philly. Philly's a 7-point favorite on the road, and I took it. I'm not sold by the New York Giants, and I am very much sold by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Baltimore Ravens are going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers are a 3-point favorite at home. This is a weird one. If it might be Huntley, so that might be one of the reasons that Vegas did this. I actually think Huntley is okay, like I said, and I think that they can move the ball with him. So I'm going to take Baltimore on the road. Baltimore knows they need this because if they lose this game, Cincinnati will now be in the lead of the division if and when they beat the Cleveland Browns. But yeah, shocking game because I really thought it would be obvious with no Lamar Jackson. I'm going to just move on from there. But I like the Huntley kid. The Huntley kid's pretty good. Kansas City at Denver. Kansas City is a 9-point favorite on the road. That's a big number, and it makes me nervous. However, the Denver Broncos suck, so I will not select them again either. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos can both go suck it at the bottom of the AFC West. But yeah, should be a good game. Kansas City, they are who they are. I think they come out and they just kind of blow Russell Wilson out of the water. I think 9 points is plenty. I think they are embarrassed by what happened last week, and I think that I think they beat him down. Yeah, 9 points. I'll take it. Tampa Bay at San Francisco. This is now a very interesting game with the way that it's Brock Purdy and not Jimmy G. I think that they'll be able to scheme, and I think they'll be able to stop them. San Francisco is a 3.5 point favorite at home. Y'all know who I be going with. His name is Thomas Edward motherfucking Patrick Patriot Patha. And I will always take Tom Brady. But I really do think this is a good chance for Tampa Bay to kind of prove themselves. Become 7-6. Start to have a commanding lead over your division, and just go for it. So yeah, Tom Brady hour. Let's go. Carolina at Seattle. Seattle is a 3.5 point favorite at home. I think that's plenty. Obviously not big on Carolina, and I think Seattle needs this win, and they come out and play hard. And I think they win by 3.5 at least. So, not a lot there for me to unpack, but Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Carolina don't lose any more quarterbacks, because how crazy would that be? You let Baker go, and then all of a sudden, something happens to Sam Darnold and something happens to PJ Walker, and now you don't have a quarterback. So interesting. Miami at the Los Angeles Chargers. Miami is a 3-point favorite on the road. I took Miami in this. This is the Sunday night game, I believe. And I don't know. I mean, Miami has played so well in some games, and then in some games, it's kind of dropped the ball. So, and then you look across the field at the Los Angeles Chargers, and you kind of have to say the same thing. I mean, the Chargers are not winning the games that they should. They really should have won that Las Vegas game, and they didn't. And I think Miami's a little upset with the way things went in San Francisco last week. So I think that they come out and play very, very hard. And Miami being a 3-point favorite on the road, I don't think it's enough. I'm going to take Miami in this. Very, very interesting game, though, because if the Chargers do come back and win, it opens the door for some weird stuff to go on as far as the wild card position for Miami. New England at Arizona is your Monday night football game. Kind of an game, kind of a whatever. New England's a 1-point favorite on the road. I went with New England in this. I've not been big on Arizona, and I definitely think that New England can scheme together something and get the win. Not crazy about New England either, but that's why this game is kind of a meh. But it should be a good defensive game. I think Arizona will come out and scheme well, and New England well. We had some other stuff that I was going to go into, but it's mostly just the high scores. Devontae Adams, my God. Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Tony Pollard, Terry McLaurin, and Christian Watson. A lot of receivers on there. Only had a couple of running backs. That's nice to see. But yeah, I you need all those guys. You need Tim or Tony Sherfield. You need Aquavius St. Brown. You're here for the waiver wire. I hope it's been a good time, not a long time. But love you guys. We'll be back next week. We're fucking on a bitch. Fuck off.